Hello, welcome back to City Planner Plays, where we are creating the ultimate beginner's guide to city skylines by creating the city of Trattoria. And in this episode, we're going to take the population of Trattoria from 15,000 to 20,000 while incorporating the Parklife DLC, or at least that was the game plan, but if you watch the last episode, you'll realize that I overshot the population. And my operating assumption in this episode is actually that I don't need to add any housing to reach 20,000, which is great because that gives us the opportunity to focus on our parks. So in the previous episode, we built a 4-star rock park for Biffa, and we started on the overcharged egg experience. I think I want to change the name of this actually. Why don't we rename this Overcharged Eggs Spice Experience. I love it. And I think we're going to reconfigure this a bit. We want to make this make a little bit more logical sense, but we got to do a couple things first. So taking a look, and we are teetering on the edge of not reaching or not having power. In fact, you can see that the egg experience is having some issues. So we're going to need to add another power plant. And I think I'm just going to add another oil power plant temporarily. We are going to clean up our power system eventually, but for the time being, I just want to continue down the path that we have been heading down. Use just a bit of eminent domain to get that in place, and I'm happy about that. We needed that power, so we're not going to stress over that. We will fill in this zoning. In fact, why don't we add a quick pedestrian path? If anyone needs to cut through, why not? We've got an extra zoning space there. We'll keep this very dense. Very good. So hopefully this cleans up our... Yeah, it does. It does. It cleans up all of our problems there. So our water and sewage treatment availability are not very good right now, and I think we need to address that as well before we get started on our build. So we have these really ugly it's the water drain pipes. So let's think about what we could do to improve this. And what I'm thinking is it might be nice to try to find a place where we can locate these where it won't destroy our coastline here. What I'm thinking is maybe we'll buy another tile. Maybe, well, actually, I'm going to buy this tile right here. So I'm going to buy this tile for two reasons. Number one, I want to relocate some of these water outlets over to this side, and hopefully the water will wash around and get some of this stuff out to shore. And secondly, I think this could be a really neat nature reserve. So that is one of the parks that we're going to be building today. We're going to be building the nature reserve. We're going to also be building our amusement park and our zoo. So first, let's get these outlet pipes, and then we'll also need another water source. We're going to add another water pumping station. So what I'm going to do is I want to lower this. I don't want these pipes to be sticking out of the ground all crazy like. So we're going to increase the size of our brush. We'll go with the medium brush, and I'm going to pick just a little bit above water level, flatten it out. And now I'm going to add a key wall here because I know that all of my outlets could rest on this key wall and look really nice. I do want to clean up the edges of this though so that we don't have any flooding issues. And you're already seeing them. There they are. Okay, so let's get a couple of our drain pipes. And I've already done the math on this, and I'm actually going to need 3 of these to make it work. So when we take a look, this is 120,000. This is 160, and we're on the edge right now, and I don't want to be on the edge any longer. So we're going to place 3 of these, and then what I want to do is have a road behind this. I know I don't need to, but for me, this adds to the realism. So I can actually find a snap to here and drag it right along. And now what I need to do is actually find a path up there. And I'm not going to be able to find one, so I can create one. So what I'll do is I will right mouse click down here and then come up here with my left mouse button, just bring it right down. And I can see that that didn't quite do what I was hoping. It's okay, I can clean it up. I'm going to turn on my terrain view just so that I can get a nice clean path up and use what I've just created. Rather than going up and back down, I will pay attention to our topography. Pull this back around. Now what I'm going to do is come through right here. I think I'm going to also go right here. It'll also come right here. And then I'm going to meet at a 90 right here. And you might think, why did I just add all of those paths? That's crazy. Well, there is a simple rationale. That is, I can use the curved road tool. Get these to line up really nicely. Alright, that kind of follows the shore there. It respects the terrain. And it looks pretty nice in my opinion. So now we need to get water and power to these facilities. And now for power, we could go ahead and add in like a kind of a bridge of these wind turbines. Oh, there we go. So we have reached level 3 in Overcharge Egg Spice Experience. So we have some more buildings unlocked, and I'm happy about that because we're going to do something really special with that park, and I'm really looking forward to it. But I don't think we're going to get cheesy with this. We're just going to go along the outside and add in a power line. I think I'm going to actually pull this back here for now as well. So this will give us some redundancy, but it will also make it so that I don't have to worry about that coastal power line, which has been causing some issues. So this should be connected now, and it is. We have a ton of capacity, so I can get rid of these drain pipes. Now don't be fooled. This is a cleaner version. It only pollutes, it says it doesn't pollute at all, but it only purifies 85% of the pollution in the sewage. This does nothing. It just dumps raw sewage into the ocean. So it's better, but it's not perfect. And you can see that when you look here. As we flood this area out, we're going to need to do a little bit of work over here. And I think I see the issue when you take a look. It's a little low. We probably should have raised this up just a little bit more. We're going to have to keep an eye on this. I think it might be okay now, though. And that's one of the things. We don't have a pumping service. Yeah, it's not going to be okay. All right, let's fix this real quick. Okay, so now our power is having issues because it doesn't have treatment. So I need to add this temporary facility up here. Kind of some of the issues you can run into if planning goes awry. So now everything should be okay here. They've got water. Ah, no, the water capacity is also down. Interesting. Experiencing a number of small issues. They're creating big problems. Okay. And I might actually just leave these windmills here for the time being, just to ensure that we don't run into any more strange issues where we don't have power to one of these facilities and everything dies. So we're going to leave those there as a little backup power for us, and our population rebounded very nicely. In fact, here we are just careening towards our goal already. So this is looking good now. I think we can leave it. So one of the things that's important to recognize about these particular assets is that they're very tourism dependent. So though we are seeing a really decent number of visitors here, I think we could really take this up to the next level with some transit. So what I'm thinking about doing is adding a train station right here. You might wonder, how am I going to do that? Well, way back here, there's a train line. We don't need to bring our trains way back here. We can bring that line over here. But if we're going to do all that work, we might as well get the benefit for our cargo network as well. So let's plan out some roads. Okay, so I placed these at very specific locations. The idea is that I'll be able to make a bridge across here, meet up, and then come back over and around. We do have some lumpies and bumpies over here. I thought the terrain was relatively flat, but I was a little mistaken. Easy enough to fix these ones, though. We got lucky. While I am over here, I'm wondering, yeah, our death care is going to be teetering soon. We have only placed one crematorium. And these are mostly at capacity. This one is. And there it is. There's our first death care. So I'm going to add one there. And we have another crematorium or another cemetery over here. We'll say this is some redevelopment. And I believe we placed one other crematorium. Maybe we didn't. I'm going to add one more in our new neighborhood. Oh, good thing. When you take a look, we're starting to see the issues pile up. This should give us fairly decent coverage throughout the city. We could go through and start emptying these cemeteries if we wanted to stop being dependent on them. But for the time being, I want to let this death care issue resolve itself because we have a lot of bodies stacking up. Okay, so let's get started on our train track. So what I'm thinking here is I want to get this pretty close to this road. And we'll start to angle in, and then we'll use our curved road tool. So we use freeform to get that angle and curved road to get this angle. And we're going to take that back a little bit. One of the primary reasons are that I want to build this bridge. I want it to be as low as possible. So I think I might be able to get away with 2. Nope. 3? Yes. And then I'm going to go over 12 so we get the nicest slope we can. Now, I think it might be nice to have some train storage over here, but I don't want to neglect a path. So I'm going to place that path connection right off the bat because we're able to use the paths to make a connection to the rear side of this train. There we go. That is nice. And I've got something really fun planned for over here. So that will be our storage track. Then I'm going to use my curved road tool. Bring this over 10. Go up 3 again. Cross the highway. Then come back 12. Dip down and make our connection. Look how nice that is. So I just want to see if it's going to be possible for me to do anything to have a third storage track and still have my path connection, and I do think it is possible. There we go. That is nice. So these tracks aren't going to be functional for anything, but they just look kind of nice, and I want to have that aesthetic. So there we go. We've got those lined up nicely. So now I need to make our connection across here. We'll turn our road length back on in our grid. Why not? Take it down 12, and there we go. Now we're going to run it fairly straight all the way back. Now here I'm just taking a look, and I want to mirror this. Oh, we have unlocked a solar plant because we've already met our population goal. All right, that's good. That is good. We can replace some of our dirty, polluting power plants that require imports now, which would be a beneficial thing to do. I think we're going to hold off on that for today, though, because right now I'm focused on things that are not the purpose of the episode so far. So we will get there. So I'm just creating a nice angle that we can connect at. We're going to need to do that on both sides. Okay, so now they can exit the city in both directions. And then coming here, they could either go to this passenger train station or go to the cargo station, which is really necessary. We're having a great deal of traffic backup, and we'll probably want to deal with that too. So we are allowing intercity trains, which is good because it's the only type of train that we have. Now, if we were, doing a little bit more, I'd love to get this to be a straight connection. I don't know how possible that's going to be. It's a little bit better. It's really tough to do this in vanilla. So you kind of have to live within your means, I suppose, as far as that goes. So I do want to clean up a little bit of this. And what we're going to do, I think we need a roundabout here. It's begging for one, and that'll put down the traffic, and then hopefully we can move on a bit. So the way that we're going to approach that, we're going to pause the game for a moment. And we're going to deconstruct this just a bit. And I love to use my dirt roads for this. I'm going to go out 1, 2, 3, 4. Need to turn off my road guidelines. So go out 80. And then I like to use freeform to make my connections. And then this cross is absolutely essential. You have to keep this. If you don't keep this, you're going to deform your roundabout. And I wanted to redo this so I get that nice 12 unit slope. Look a little bit better. And then I'm going to take this back just a ways because I want to get really nice ramp angles. I want to lead people into the city and out of it. And now I can go through and make all of my upgrades. And we are going to take some of Biffa's advice, and we are going to use lane mathematics here. So what I'm trying to do is ensure that as I go through here, there are more than enough lanes. I'll explain that in just a moment. Okay, so now I think I can run this again. If I were to put 2 lanes here, this would get stuck. Guaranteed, no questions asked. It would happen. So this at least gives an extra lane for someone to loop back around if they wanted to come through here and go this way. Right now, there's really no reason to do that, but presumably someone might want to. Now, I would imagine that if we speed this up, we've got a significant queue, so it's going to take just a moment to back out, but I think we'll get there. There's more issues. So what I'm noticing is that we're seeing this not quite clear out here. Now, granted, there is a great deal of traffic that's built up over time. It's backed up way out here, and that will get better. There are ways that we might want to consider improving it, though. And one of the things that we could do is add in an additional lane. So now you could get in either the left or the right lane and merge either in the center lane or the rightmost outside lane. You can see that gets things moving a little bit more. So we will leave that like that. These are kind of some vanilla tricks you got to do because you don't have the ability to change lanes and change angles. We don't have node controllers, so these are the sorts of things you got to do. So want to look, we haven't seen any trains yet, and over here we're missing water. That should resolve this. Hopefully get things cleaned up. And this is one thing to think about, is that we, at this point, this hasn't been working. This is going to improve things quite a bit. So the other thing that we could do is we don't really have any collectors going across the city this way. We could create a collector couplet right here, and that might improve things as well. And in fact, I'm inclined to think that it's necessary. So we are going to add this through. And one of the reasons I think it's necessary is there's going to be a lot of traffic here now that we have added these train facilities. Okay, so this is a collector. Yeah, we have a couplet here, and that's going to help us out quite a bit. What I'm going to do now that I've upgraded this to a collector couplet is upgrade the road coming in to an arterial. This will give us an extra lane when people need to move, and that will be very beneficial. Also going to look at the junctions here and make sure that we're prioritizing the movements on this road. We should do the exact same thing to this new couplet. Ooh, and it's saying that it's a priority road all the way back to here. It's not. It's only where we have our collector. Okay, so basically what we've done is make sure that there are free movements here straight through, and we can see that our traffic on our highway with the few moves that we've made is completely dissipated and 91% traffic flow. There's some slowdown here, but things are still moving. So this has been a good improvement in my mind. We did have a little bit of a transit disruption though, so we will want to take a look at that. And we again have our stops mirrored. And while I'm over here thinking about it, we do have this overcharged egg bus route. I think we're going to just take that back here so that someone can get on the bus, get to the egg experience, and get back. So Biffa's Rock Park is now at 4 stars, and I want to know what it's going to take to get to the next level. So we need some more entertainment, and we need more visitors. So I'm going to increase our speed for likely the rest of the episode as we try to reach our milestones. I think to reach the next milestone with the Rock Park isn't going to take much. A couple of gazebos maybe. Oh, we're one away. Just one. I know what to add. We don't have any amenities in here for children. We'll just add this climbing frame like we added in Overcharged Eggs Park, and that should do the trick for us. Yes, just over. So all we need now are visitors. We'll get there eventually. Okay, so let's come back over here and admire that the water's a different color. it's an improvement. We're going to take it. So what I'm thinking is we're going to work the zoo into this, and it's going to be a really special park. But what we're going to need to do is change things up just a little bit. And by a little bit, I mean a lot. We're going to move things over and shift it. You might be thinking to yourself at this point, what are you doing? That was crazy. Totally unnecessary, and you might be right. Didn't need to do this, and I've certainly messed a few things up in the park, but I think that you're going to see by the end of this that it's for the greater good. So I want to consolidate some things over here. And these aren't the final locations. We're going to figure that out in just a moment. What I think we want to do, though, so we've got this kind of curving road through here, path, and it's going to really make things a challenge to place things. So we're going to straighten it up just a bit. And now I want to add in the new facilities that we received. So we got the swinging boat, which I think would be a nice transition. And then we've got this haunted house, which I feel would be excellent, kind of as that centerpiece. You walk in the park, and that's the first thing you see. Now we do have power issues. We're no longer connected. We'll get to that. So bumper cars are a nice, again, I think it's a nice transitional ride. That curve is a real problem though. But it does get us connected, and that's what I was looking for. Okay, so I'm going to move the last remnants of our children's experience over here. What I think we're going to do is add in one little path right here that will allow us to easily place our children's rides, or our climbing frame rather. And now we've kind of consolidated the park a bit, which is the main goal. And the main reason I wanted to do that is we are going to be deconstructing this just a bit. Okay, there we go. And this is going to be our zoo. So we're even going to eliminate that road. We're going to fix this up and we will finish it, and we are going to detail it and spice it up. But I need to do a little bit of work first. So we've got this spice experience. This will be Czardus' Concrete Jungle Zoo. Yeah, that's going to be nice. So we're going to build our zoo here. So the very first thing we need is a main gate. I like using these larger main gates. It's a personal preference. You don't have to follow my lead. And as soon as we unlock that, we unlock a whole bunch of buildings. So I'm really excited about this. So what I'm thinking about doing is actually swinging this road down here and then having a bridge across the two. So think of it as having kind of a parks pass. Oh, and we get our trampoline park at our rock park. So Biffa's Rock Park is level 5. We go. 1 down, 3 more to go. And the Overcharged Eggs Spice experience is it's in a better spot now. I feel like we're going to easily reach our goal. We're at a level 3 there. Okay, so this will be the Concrete Jungle Zoo, and level 4 at Overcharged Eggs Spice experience. So we get a pendulum ride and our drop tower ride. Let's add that. We'll just keep going back and forth between these. Now I really love the drop tower. We could get some really striking views of the pollution in the bay. So we will just add that right here. And then this swinging, terrifying ride of doom. We'll add that right there for the time being. And we're going to really think about whether this makes the most sense as soon as we have our final facilities. Let's see. We have plenty of entertainment at this point. We're just waiting for visitors. So it's a perfect time to build our zoo. So I want to first of all line up this connection. We're going to take that down and we're going to see if we can get this pretty low. Here we go. So that's two notches up we were able to do. And now you could presumably walk from the zoo over here. And I'm not sure what that's going to do to our overall utilization of both parks, but we're gonna find out. This is just kind of an example of how you can get creative with the game. So I want to have a plaza right off the zoo's main entrance. Now we do have some terrain here. So this is going to be our constant battle with the zoo, is we're going to need to level things. So even for this plaza, I need to move it down. The asset does not work well on terrain. And for our cafe, I think we'll just have that over here, along with our souvenir shop. So you could take a load off and relax after a trip at the zoo. We'll have a restroom over here as well. And maybe a small enclosure if we have any. I don't know how that's going to do. That's going to terraform poorly. So I will temporarily move that. We might just not really have much over here. Outside of seating, maybe some information, this will be a place where you can take a load off. Over here, on the other hand, we're going to need to do some terraforming if we want this to work. Okay, so I terraformed a little location over here, and of course, now we're outside of the zoo. We haven't even placed our first amenity yet, and we're already larger than the zoo area that we painted. We're going to have to expand this a number of times, would be my guess. And don't be afraid to give this some space. People will walk in a zoo. It's okay. Whatever we can't clean up, we will landscape. You see, we've got some lumpies here that are just really kind of a struggle to figure out. A couple ways that we could deal with that. I think that we could turn this road. That's one way to deal with it. So since that's not totally necessary right now, we'll just eliminate that. That'll allow us to smooth out these grades a bit. There we go. Now I want to come back over to our zoo assets and continue to pull this out. And the nice thing is, I believe that our terrain is smoothing out so we can get some more amenities here. So some of these amenities have paths built into them. Just something to keep in mind. And this is certainly one of those amenities. So you can see that it has paths all the way around it that we'll want to connect into. So we have this birdhouse as well that we have not placed yet. That's too large to place against the road. We will have things that we can place there. So we could try to organize these by exhibit type. That's a little beyond what I'm looking to chew off right now. You can see this is actually the rear of the exhibit, which I'm not overly concerned about. I'm more concerned that this bird exhibit looks horrible. And again, that's all terrain. Not like an all-terrain vehicle, it's just all-terrain issues. So we will remedy that. There we go. We're still going to struggle with that because the terrain's not perfectly level, so it's really important that you go through and you level these things first. Otherwise, you're going to either accept some lumpies and bumpies, or you're going to have to go through and delete it. I know that that's not what you want to do. So we do need water and power through here, and you see that we're just outside of it. We also have some kind of nonsensical facilities at this point, so I'm going to go through and clean it up just a bit. There we go. Much better. So the Concrete Jungle Zoo needs people. So does the egg experience. So we're going to need to get people here, and we built this train station, and it's got people coming, but I'm concerned about the transit line that we have. Let's take a look. Yep. 265 people all trying to get to our lovely amenities way over here, and they can't get there because our method of transit is incompatible. So In reality, this would probably be fine. A shuttle bus of some sort. If the bus wasn't working, we'd probably go with an articulated bus and call it a day. But this is City Skylines, and everyone will take that bus route there, and it'll be totally and completely broken. So what we're going to do, I think, is add a facility right here, a subway, a metro underground station. And then we're going to add one over here. But I just got done watching an Imperator video that was excellent. And what I want to do is use a little bit of what he did. Create something special. So we'll create that diagonal station that he showed us how to create in his video. And basically what you're doing is creating a diagonal road, then deleting the road after you place this Metro Underground station. Then we're going to use our path connections to make sure everything is as connected and lined up as it can be. There we go. And we should decorate around this as well. Interestingly, after we made this connection, it made it impossible to get up there, so I think we're going to delete this one, and we will add our fence back here instead. There we go. So we've kind of just created a nice little facility here, and the nice thing about that angle is it will help us navigate this area. And what I'm thinking is it'll be nice to have a couple of additional stations. I think we're going to add one right here at this corner in this park. So that distance is pretty significant. Then we'll add one more over here. Trying to use as little eminent domain as possible, but some's going to be necessary to make this work. And then one more there. Now let's get this all connected. So I like to keep my angles active. We've got a good distance here. Now we just need to make sure that our connections are smooth. And that will ensure that we have as quick a speeds as we can on here. I'm actually thinking I potentially should have angled this the other way. That might have been more helpful. But since I'm going down this main drag, I'm going to take out the smallest building I can. I'm going to add a stop. Yeah, this is not ideal. But it'll work. It will do the trick. And let's just head down the line. There we go. Now this will be Imperator Station. There we go. So this should help us out quite a bit. And I'm going to crank this because I want to get this moving. Get our zoo rocking and rolling. So this is going to take a little while to get to where we need it to be. Over here we're getting some visitors. I want to get started on our nature reserve. So I'm going to be a little less judicious with this one. Just going to take a big chunk of land over here. This will be Lee Hawkins' more nature, less traffic. And this will be his personal nature reserve. Alright, so we're going to come over here. We're going to add a connection. So this will be where we place our nature reserve main gate. Fortunately, I can't perfectly center this. That's okay. And we're going to unlock a whole bunch of stuff. Tents, campfires, and a side gate. And what I think we're going to do is be pretty mindful of what this place is and try to keep it pretty Spartan in terms of the sorts of facilities that we're going to keep in close, or the amount of fencing and things of that nature. I don't think we need power here, interestingly. It says that we're okay, even though it feels like it should need power. Well, I guess we're just going to see what happens. So as we're going about this, I think on our main quote-unquote arterial path connection, first of all, I want to look at our terrain. We're going to use lights down this main connection. We'll switch that out, and then we'll kind of sprawl from here. Now we have these campsites and different things that we can add. What I think I'm going to do is just kind of clump some of these. So right here, this is a campfire site. We've got a campfire site again. And then we've got some tents. Let's add some tents. Then we can add some campfire sites right next to those to give it a little bit more livelihood. Or make it a little bit livelier. They don't all need them. We can do it for a few of them. And then if we wanted, we could go into these other assets. Add in things like picnic tables. Just make it feel a little bit more alive. We could certainly come through here. Add in a place to get some firewood. Maybe sneak a couple of restrooms back here as well. We'll have a well site right here. And now it feels a little bit more like a place. So the other thing you can do, these are nice self-leveling paths. So you could decide to make a nice trek up the mountain. So let's say we wanted to do that. And we'll create a scenic overlook. You don't have to worry about grading with these, which is really nice. If you were to do this with the normal paths that come in the vanilla game, you would end up with a pretty wild path that is, you basically at a 45-degree angle, and that's no good. We'll say that the goal was to get right here. And from here, you've got a pretty nice view. We will smooth things out just a bit up here. We'll add a bit of a turnaround, then clear some trees so you can admire the view of Overcharged Egg's lovely spice experience. And you can see that we could certainly improve this with a little bit of smoothing around here. So I like to smooth it out and then pull it out. And what I'm doing is constantly picking new heights, and that helps me make a nice connection. Or rather, not connection, but a nice slope eventually. And now I'm going to go on medium and kind of smooth it out along the edge. Do that along the inside and the outside. You can see that it starts to hide that we've self-leveled these, which is really nice. It can be tough, and we're not going to make it perfect, but we're going to make it pretty darn good. Not bad. So if we wanted this to level up, we have plenty of entertainment. We just need visitors. The fence looks a little bit weird, so I think I am going to take it and bring it somewhere. Maybe that somewhere is just back into the woods a bit. There we go. So the start of a nice little nature reserve. Now I do want to see how are we doing here. Getting plenty of passengers. We should really start cleaning this up a bit. So we're going to go through, really make this feel like a place. So the grid is really messing things up for me, so we'll turn that off. So are road guidelines, so we'll turn that off. So is road length, so we'll turn that off. And honestly, even angle's not helping at this point. Now, interestingly, we are having some issues connecting this fence. And the main reason for that is I placed this gate at a place that it just doesn't like. So we're going to have to get creative to fix this. So creativity is just extending it out a bit. We'll back this out, and then we'll use our curved road tool, angle, and guidelines to make our connection. And that should give us enough breathing room to place a nice fence. So there we go. Let's see if we can... Yeah, there we are. Alright, not perfect, but pretty darn good. And I'm pretty pleased. So let's start adding some fencing around our zoo as well. We could use the same fencing if we wanted to have an aesthetic that we were trying to extend. But I do really like the way that the zoo fence looks, and I don't think it's appropriate around an amusement park. So we are going to add this over here. and not worry about the, not worry that they're different. They are different facilities, so it's just fine. All right, zoo has been upgraded. Czardus is smiling. So we have 2 new enclosures. We will get to those in just a moment. Oh, level 5 for the egg experience. So we finally get our last amenities there, and we'll go through those in just a moment. Let's get this fence placed. And then the very first thing I want to do is get rid of the policy to advertise this park and make it the main park. We're going to move that over. We'll turn on animal ethics, which again, that boosts the entertainment effect for the buildings, but costs money because the animals are well cared for. We're going to advertise, make this the main park. That's going to help out quite a bit. And the other policies don't apply here. I guess we could celebrate, make this even more fun. It's a little scary for the animals. And night tour, that'll be fun too. Even more fun. Actually, we'll have that over here. Yeah, we have that. So that's about all that we can do. So I want to finish off the spice experience. So let's work in our last few buildings. And the big dog of them all is going to be this one. Trying to figure out a way to fit in the roller coaster is going to be our trick because it's huge. So we're going to need to think about that. So the arrow shows us the side that people want to enter on. So we'll add that right here. We also have a Ferris wheel, and I really would love to have a nice view of the water. So I might reorient things a bit over here. Just making a bit of room. Easy enough to do, and now we have room for our Ferris wheel over here. And I think we could even move this back to its prominent location, exactly where it belongs. Now our roller coaster's got some issues. And in fact, I'm going to get rid of it for the time being because we need to smooth out our terrain. This one's going to be a trick because that's a pretty steep hill there. We probably should redo this road, truthfully. I don't want to go that extreme, though. That's not reasonable. That would never happen in real life. You just deal with it. There we go. We'll add that there. Then we'll landscape that generously. Generously. I'm just going to stick this through one angle on. And I'm okay with a sharp connection there. There we go. We've got everything in here. We could certainly do a lot to jazz this up. And I would highly encourage you, if you are going to build a park like this, go wild. Let your imagination really guide you. We could certainly get rid of redundant paths, make things a little bit more logical, and add in fun decorations. Could even go into lights, and like I mentioned in the last episode, add in some of these other things. I think what we are going to do is just get this cleaned up with some landscaping and be happy with our 5-star amusement park. I am noticing it's a really long path to get through here, so I think we're going to add one more path. And we could certainly come through if we wanted and add some more games or something of that nature through this area. I think what I'm going to do, come here, add a couple of these tiles, and we will add some amenities over here for folks. Okay, so the main thing I wanted to do was add some landscaping on the outside to make it look attractive from the outside, and then on the inside I wanted another layer of landscaping so that you're completely immersed in the park. We could certainly get into a heavy level of detail if we wanted and go through and add little bushes all the way across. I don't think that we are going to do that as much fun as that would be for me. Okay, we'll do a little bit, just that. But it's a very nice theme park. Very nice. Interestingly, we are dropping below our population threshold. It's okay. I'm good with that. Okay, so now for our zoo, we're going to add a couple of things in. So we get our bison enclosure. This is again another larger asset. We'll again need to extend out our zoo. That's going to be a theme. And again, this is another one of those assets that has a built-in path. So we're going to need to be mindful of that. And I'm hoping that our terrain's good here. I saw it jump up, which always scares me. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. So let's see if our path connects nicely. No. So it is that bad. Now I want to center this antelope enclosure as well. This is not one that had a path, so we can easily center that. We can make some connections here. We have this really rigid grid. Why don't we break that up? Use our tools to make this nicer. Turn on our road guidelines with our curved road tool to finish this out. Have a nice smooth connection there. I like that a lot more. Right, so this does create issues though, but we can get past them. So there we go. We have one more asset that we can drop, and that is the insect and amphibian house. I think I want to bring that closer to the beginning. Kidding. There's going to be no good place without looking at our terrain in a significant way. This is probably as good as it gets without going through and modifying our terrain a bit. There we go. That's not terrible. So if we take a look, again, visitors are our limiting factor. I think we're making good progress here. I am curious as to whether this is limiting our visitor pool, because people could be coming in over here from the subway. So I think for the time being, you can see the number of people using this. I want this to be the long-term goal, but in the short term, you gotta pay. You gotta pay. So now hopefully we'll get some people walking around here and heading over this way. We'll let this go for just a minute and we'll see what happens. And more nature, less traffic has leveled up to level 2, which is good. It gives us an opportunity to swing over there and add a couple of things. So we get these nice tent camping sites. So I think we're going to look at our terrain and try to find a good place to place these. So we'll place one there. And now we actually have some observation decks. So we can add a couple of those as well. And you see that, again, we are far exceeding our needed level. At this point, it's kind of just a waiting game, and we would need to continue to add in these amenities as we reach the next level. I think that we might cut it off. It's going to take a little bit of time, but we need to reach our population threshold, which means that we need to zone a bit, which is interesting. That is not where I thought we would end up, because we had already reached 20,000. So let's just add a quick block in here. We'll have some pretty significant density back here. And then what I'm thinking is we're also going to add some back here. This is just a developer going through and making the best of the space that they have available to them. I'm sure that it would be an absolute joy living next to the park maintenance facility. Does that create noise? Actually, no. So maybe it's not too bad. It's just not a great deal of fun. So you know, I guess your neighbors aren't always fun, but at least they're quiet. That's something. We will generously landscape this area that has helped us grow our population a bit. We're going to speed it up. I see some other landscaping opportunities. Very good. Little fire. We're okay. We are okay. And then we could come down here as well and add in a bit more if we wanted to. I don't think that we want to. I think we're okay. We're going to extend the grid somewhere, and that somewhere is probably right here. So I don't want to disturb this rock feature. So what I think we're going to do is just do our best to avoid it. There we go. We've done it. And then that should allow us to get rid of these power lines once we have our buildings being built. And we are going to again increase the density as we reach over here. We'll lower it in the proximity of those rocks. And then I'm going to replace this with offices that add some sort of buffer in between the amusement park and these homes. We'll eventually want to extend this quay wall out as well. And then I think we'll add one more block, and this should be a fairly simple block if we want to go very dense here, which I think we do. I'm overshooting my roads a bit here. And we do have some terrain challenges that I can see right off the bat. Yeah, this is kind of a shelf. It'll create a nice terraced effect though, and I like the idea of that. So again, water pipes underneath the road where they belong, and we have reached our population threshold. We've got 4 parks. We're going to continue to add to these in future episodes, but I am very pleased with where we've ended up. We've got a 5-star amusement park, a 2-star zoo, a 2-star nature reserve, and, whoa, a 5-star city park. I think we put in some work today, and I'm very pleased with how this has turned out. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, please consider doing so, and I will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.